I want to take you behind the scenes and show you how I created an AI employee that 12 of my clients use right now. It's something they want and need and are willing to pay for over and over again. I'm going to show you behind the scenes, the process, the structure, because at the end of the day, people don't want information. They want you to co develop and co create with them. That means that you just need to give them a structure to do so and stop them from doing dumb things. That being said, let's jump into this video and show you what I did. The ultimate N8N LinkedIn automation where you can post, scrape, analyze, and accidentally go viral. This is currently used by 12 of my clients, and I'm going to give you the full structure behind of it. We're going to discuss these things in this video. Point number one is the new meta of a single person automating 80% of companies, and how it is a blue ocean for coaches, consultants, service providers, agency owners, and anyone who wants to integrate AI within their business. Point number two is a NASA inspired structure I follow for identifying pain points of the market, structuring the solutions, building them, testing them, validating them, and delivering them to the clients. And then I'm going to give you a demo. You can see all the tabs over here. We're going to go through them one by one and what my current clients are running within their system. If you don't know who I am, my name is Adham Alkhaja. I've sent a couple of satellites into outer space. I've pursued my PhD in aerospace engineering, and I've ran a couple of businesses, also scaled a couple of businesses as well. And today we're going to discuss how can you run your business and add AI to it with the LinkedIn automation part. So two recent news that just came out a couple of days back, which was Gary Tan by YC, Y Combinator, and Adam D'Angelo, which is by Kura, the CEO of Kura. They mentioned that first of all, Gary Tan mentioned that we are in this new meta, just reposting his tweet, and he mentioned that we're opening up a new role at Kura, a single engineer who will use AI to automate manual work across the company and increase employee productivity. 2 point, automate manual work and increase employee productivity. They didn't say we're going to get rid of jobs, but increase employee productivity. And I will work closely with this person. Very key point over here. Why did he mention a single person and not many people? We're going to discuss that in a bit. But he mentioned these responsibilities, and I just highlighted what I saw most important for our discussion today is one, this person needs to automate existing work and increase employee productivity. Two, use AI as much as possible to automate your own process of creating the software. Three is understand pain points, which is the business aspect, and process improvement opportunities, which is understanding how the business work, marketing, how the departments of marketing, sales, and all the different departments work together. Rapidly prototype and swiftly. Speed is very important over here. Supervise, so not solely leave it on AI itself, but have that human element in the loop, which is a high trust owner of the systems, and ensure these tools are adopted and the delivery of the value is very obvious. And also stay up to date. I know this could be a challenge, but stay up to date with all this latest tools and what's happening within the field and what's going out of relevancy and so on. So the first question I asked when I read this was, why single person and not many? Because it defeats the point if you're going to hire a team to just build out the system out, right? You're increasing productivity and automating existing work. That means the person that will come in needs to understand how to automate his own work. And this follows this thesis that I've been following in my previous videos as well. I talk about this, that we're going to have AI employees or one employee that's super powered with this group of AI agents and AI employees where they're working for them and doing all the manual work. And that's why I think one person and not many. And this is just a win I got 20 minutes before recording this video by one of my clients saying that. And the final point is the most important point for this topic over here is that to me, that means I literally onboarded my first AI employee for marketing. And this is on topic of what I want to discuss here. It allows me to finally have more headspace to articulate strategic ideas and concepts that resonate with my audience instead of spending hours editing, reviewing, and refining one single idea. I'm going to show you that AI employee over here, but this shows the power of it where it unlocks unlimited possibilities for anyone who just gets that AI employee within their business. So the topic I want to talk about here, as I mentioned in the title, is one of the highest leverage and highest reward business tasks you could do, which is marketing, or let's say lead generation through social media channels, where the input usually is your time, your effort, your ideation, your creativity, and so on, and then refinement of the post or whatever piece of content you're going to put out for the objective of getting more influence, leads, and clients, and nurturing the people you have within your audience. So we're looking at this sector over here, which is marketing, then content, short form content. This can be applied to Instagram, LinkedIn, X, or any other platform. I'm just showing it for your LinkedIn because This is based on what my clients used to ask me then. This is the platform they use the most. And this is over here first me understanding the pain points, because I could have gone ahead instead of automating something out of the blue. I'd say, okay, let me automate Instagram, because Instagram seems to me, hypothetically, what's everyone is using right now and what is the most popular software for people to use. But based on user feedback, they told me we use LinkedIn. LinkedIn is very time consuming, and mentioned all these points. It's, for example, the time. It takes me 45 to 60 minutes daily to, and I'm struggling with this, and I'm struggling with my positioning. I don't have the time. I don't know how to stand out. I don't have the ideas of what to post. And I've been posting and not getting leads because I've been posting a couple of random things. And I need to unlearn what I've been learning for the past couple of years. And the most important and critical point out of all of this that was repeated by many people, I use ChatGPT, Claude, or these other LLMs for, let's say, content creation, but they never capture my voice 100% with the right prompts, even if I prompt them the right prompts as well. So this showed me that there is a problem over here that needs to be solved, that's very time consuming, and I can see AI fitting in this box over here, and I'm going to show you exactly how we did that. So then I asked one of my clients, okay, what can you give me more details about this? They said, yes, this is some of the details, this is what I want in terms of requirements. So the point is over here, if you're designing something for your client, whatever you're designing in terms of an automation, an AI automation, or any piece of software you design for your clients, just think of it this way: do they really want what you're designing? And is it what they're asking for or not? Because we may get stuck in hobbyland very often, creating things that are nice to us, we enjoy, but the clients really don't want it, or they're not willing to pay for it. This is something they were willing to pay for. And then I dug a bit more into the issue and said, what softwares do you use right now? They told me we use Clio. And unfortunately, a couple of days back, Clio mentioned that we're just removing our software. It's not going anywhere, but I think LinkedIn went after them. They put this on their website. LinkedIn came knocking, and we have to comply and so on. And this sparked this idea: why don't I just give them the software they have been using, but more leverage and has more features that they really want, customized to their needs, where they install it on their PC? And this is where everything came in. And then I started thinking about, okay, they're using those softwares. Some use Taplio and all these nice softwares that there is for LinkedIn as well. I said, what features do they use within the software? Because most probably they don't use all the features within all the softwares. So how can we get the best feature out of that and build the AI employee where you have this customized AI employee for you? And this is how this could turn into a SaaS. Not my objective, not something I will do, but it could turn into a SaaS in the future. So ideally, the content system, and the content system I teach people and tell people how to do, and the content system I run, as well as you're noticing, this is part of the long form over here, this video over here. But there's one short form channel to gather the attention, and there's one long form channel over here to nurture and take those attention to the long form part. And there's this email, which is everything leads towards capturing that lead or getting that email. Short form gets me emails, long form gets me emails, short form gets me people to go on the long form gets me emails as well, and emails fed back into this flywheel to show in short form and also in long form. So it's kind of all like a flywheel going, a trifecta going together. And then I started asking, okay, this if this is a content system that everyone is running and I'm telling people to run and so on, what are the manual tasks over here that gets this job done? Like, what do I do on a daily basis? Then I started writing each of those down in like manual tasks. There's a task of positioning. Am I saying the right stuff? Are people understanding the offer I have? Am I building enough context around this offer and so on? Then there's a second objective, which is, am I creating the content on a daily basis? Am I consistent with the content? Is it fluctuating in terms of the style and so on? Am I talking to them as friends or as leads or as customers and so on? My tone and so on. And then monitoring, basically, who's liking my content. Are they people who have a lot of money? Are they people who have no money? They're just doing for engagement. Am I not getting any engagement? Who's DMing me? How can I analyze everything and adjust above my positioning and the creating content to get better results? So this is essentially the manual task you do on a daily basis. And if I was to hire a ghostwriter or a content editor or a social media manager for my LinkedIn, this is exactly what they would do. So I said, okay, amazing. These are manual tasks. This is what we're going to get an AI machine or AI employee to do. And some very important practical considerations over here, very, very critical, by the way. It could like break the complete system if you don't get them right. Is one, social platforms are not dumb. They know that AI content is gone through the roof. Everyone is using AI for their content, and they're placing higher priority on other features just to break that friction or break that barrier of entry where they keep this authenticity on the platform, not become that internet dead theory that everyone talks about where everything is bots and everything is AI and nothing is real anymore. That's point number one. So that's something when you're designing the system to keep in mind. Point number two is never connect social accounts to N8N on any third party. It's not worth the risk. Okay, if you want to post, let's say, I want this N8N system over here just to post for me and my LinkedIn automation to post for me. I would do everything except the post, except connecting N8N with LinkedIn because they know and they it's not worth the risk if you're going to run that risk. I mean, this is your machine of generating leads, right? And customers and clients, right? So it's not worth the risk over there. Point number three is don't automate the posting part, as I just mentioned. It just takes 1 to 5 minutes. And point number four, if it does not sound like you are saying knowledge you don't have, don't post it. This is very critical, coming to the point of the most critical problem that people mentioned over here, which is they don't sound like me. Sometimes when you create posts or content using AI, what happens is AI adds information that you don't have. It's like Google. It just grabs a bunch of information and puts information within the post and you post that. And if tomorrow someone asks you, you mentioned that in your post the other day, can you tell me more about it? You have no clue. And this is where authenticity just flies out of the roof. Don't say things that you don't know or it does not sound like you. This is very important in terms of practical considerations if you want to go that lead customer authenticity and making content to actually connect with the people and so on. So this brings me to the 10-80-10 rule, where it comes to the topics that were mentioned by CEO of Kura above, where you supervise the choice of the AI and become that high trust owner, where 10% of the time you're giving the ideas, you're jotting down the ideas, and 80% is AI doing the messy work in the middle, and 10% is where you jump in and refine and approve and just post it. So it's kind of 20% you, 80% of the machine. I would not make it 100% machine, not at this stage, not at what's happening, and not if you want to be authentic on the platform. You can make it 100%, 100%. And people may not even notice that you're doing that, but it just loses that touch. This is from my experience. It just loses that emotion, that touch. It feels dry. It feels like it's too generic or something is missing, even though you use the right words. So it's like using words, it's like speaking as well. So this is very important. And then, after understanding all the above, I know it was a bit like in details what I mentioned just now, but after understanding all of the above, I came up with the solution saying, okay, let's introduce the LNK series, which is LinkedIn LNK series, where we're going to introduce a couple of machines where they're going to do these jobs over here, as we mentioned. And something to live by, and this is how when I used to do space missions and create satellites and build satellites and send them to outer space, is that you have three objectives over here when you're building this out for your clients, because they're here not because they can't YouTube this. They're buying from you not because they can't find the information online or on ChatGPT, just asking it a couple of prompts, how can I do this? But they're here because they want structure, someone who has a proven structure of making this work, a sequence of steps. Two, they want someone to stop them from doing dumb things. They don't want to just go and mess things around. And point number three is they want it to be as easy as possible, where it requires the least thinking or let's say brain power as possible. So this is where I came up with this structure, and you can copy the structure if you're going to deliver this to the clients or if you're going to make it for yourself and so on. Where there's 4 steps. Point number one is the spec sheet, which is the CV. It's over here, like in details, you can see, but is the spec sheets is essentially telling them the details. Okay, this is the jobs that need to be done over here. This is the CV of the AI employee that you're going to hire, which is link 01, let's say part of the series, which is a poster, the content creator. This is the CV. The CV says this. This is, let me show you actually how it looks like here, the full thing, just so you have a picture. This is a CV. This is the compensation package, where this is the salary, the human equivalent, how much time it saves you, how much it takes to onboard it, and so on. This is the capabilities and the loadout. What tools are you going to use? What are things you're going to add to the system? This is the responsibility. So it's kind of like a CV where you're going to come and hire this employee. And then you have the personality over here and what's the ideal work environment it can have. So then you go into the installation step, which is the structure of everything. What are the databases you're going to use? What are the configurations you're going to make, and so on. And then the build step, which is the workflows, these workflows, which you're going to go into a bit more details in a bit. And then as a control center's work, how can I control this machine right now to make it work for me? So this is post, for example, this is positioning, this is a brain, which is a RAG system kind of. And you just go through these steps one by one. And the way I put them in folders on Google Drive and GitHub as well, GitHub, make it private if you're going to share it with your clients or do it for yourself as well, is that there's a naming convention. Was very important when we used to do space missions to track every update that was made, because space software is very critical. Once you send something into outer space, you can't just go up there and fix it. So similar to here, we're treating it as that. Then we have the delivery folder, which is, there's one, the specs, the installation guides, and so on. And then there's a test, there's operation, there's updates, and there's assets such as a demo video link tutorial showing them how to set it up, a screenshot of it working, and so on. So this is just, you can copy it and put it on, let's say, the GitHub or Google Drive, and so on. So now let's come to Link 01. Link 01 was the content creator. And this came from the heart of what people were telling me when before I even start with AI and AI employees and so on. There was a client I had called Amen, and he mentioned that I have no ideas and I have no time to create content for LinkedIn. I don't know what to do, but I need to do this. This is a testimony he left me, and he's very well known in the AI space. He's an AI expert where he runs workshops. He's been a couple of times with Gary Vee on the news all the time, and so on. And he mentioned that I have this problem. I really need to sort this problem out because I understand AI is here and I need to utilize it in a way to create content for myself. And then I gave him Link 01, and this was where Link 01 was born, which is a post content creator. And he mentioned that after installing it, I'm back to creating content. One of my posts went viral equivalent, and this is where I meant to by accidentally going viral. After 3 days of doing this, one of my posts went viral equivalent of business, where LinkedIn themselves featured it in two of their highlights, and so did the publication Smashy Business. And these are the posts who went viral, and it was on Instagram as well. They took it and they just took it all over the place. And then he mentioned, after a while of doing this together and working on other machines, he mentioned that yesterday I did an N8N session and I went nonstop for the full day, ignored everything, and I just did that. There's a lot of potential there, a lot. And this is very, very key for me. And I just hit that with another client just before recording this, is that I want people to reach a point where they actually see the potential of AI and automating the manual stuff within their business. So let's now go into the details what exactly Link 01 is, so you can apply it as well to your business and just understand how you can create it for yourself as well. So the problems we solved over here, which I mentioned as above, I don't have time to post, I don't know what to write, I don't have ideas, I struggle to stand out, AI doesn't sound like me. This is a very, very critical one, because this is the make and break, as we mentioned, and it was repeated a lot. And I am posting but not getting leads. These were the problem solved. And a human equivalent of this, if I was to solve it with money, let's say, I would get a ghostwriter, a content strategist, a junior assistant. This would cost all around this range, but Link 01 just costs $3 to $5 per month in API credits. And the control hub, you can control it either on Airtable, on Telegram, on WhatsApp. Just WhatsApp it and say, hey, I want to create this piece of content. Or one of the clients, what they did was they said, hey, I'm sending just jot this down in my database. I'm sending this idea. I was on my walk and I got this idea. Just jot it down for later on where we're going to create content about it. So it's kind of an idea collector, insight extractor, and then content creator as well. And one also mentioned that, so what the reason I'm showing you all these, when what clients mentioned, is that I want you to see how it evolves with time. It's not the perfect product on day one. It's just understanding the features that your clients want and keep on refining it over and over again. Where for the next client that comes, it's been through a lot of iterations and they get maximum value about it's like it's exactly what they want. You read their mind before even them saying anything. So one of the clients mentioned that I will definitely want to build some large scale enterprise stuff down the road for the clients out of this. which is now we were using Airtable on Telegram, and the production level would be okay, go into more secure database, let's say Supabase or Pinecone, and then you can use a front end, something like Lovable Dev, and you can focus on the UX and UI and so on. And this is exactly what I want to show you. And we go into demo right now, and before going into the feedback of how everything worked out for them. So then I went, okay, let's start building this out. Since I'm going to build a lot of machines, I went on Lovable. I created this dashboard over here, and this is something I'm going to give access to my clients. And then they can go on link, let's say 01, and they have this dashboard where there's this dashboard. They can do the functionality that this machine does. I'm finalizing it because I want them to tell me the feature they want and remove everything that they don't want. Less is more all the time. One is they can chat with the machine. Two is they can generate these posts. For example, they can add outputs and so on. And it's all going to be connected to a database over here, which is Airtable. So they're going to just put their ideas. They can extract insights, and then they can generate the post over here. Let's do a test run. Let's say this is the idea. Let me extract insights out of this. Insights have been extracted. We come and choose the insight. We generate post, and we should see a post pop up over here with some analysis. This button, you can copy a post. Once you copy this, you go, for example, on X-Ray, you click this and you click paste, and you just analyze the post. It's analyzing the post. You can even compare it with the past 10 input outputs. You can see if your messaging evolved, what's happening within this, what's happening essentially with your posts, and what's their engagement and the format, and whether it's aligned with you. Some analytics that are going to come later on, and settings just to make it super easy for you to set it up. Just put your API keys here, validate it all, and everything just works. So how does everything work on the back end? And this is just if you're going to go production level, by the way. It's before going production level, you can just give them the Airtable databases and the N8N as well. For example, for the Airtable database, how I set it up, and this usually takes me a lot of time to set up as well, because I keep on iterating this to see what's the most critical components to add in here, and what's the least important components which I can keep for later on, and what's most important to them. For example, in this case, they have raw input where they can input here based on voice notes, text messages, or even manually enter them from their phone, whether it's an idea or a transcript from long form video. For example, this YouTube video, I can take a transcript, put it in Google Drive, and give it a link and tell it, okay, extract a couple of insights out of this. And there's a button over here called extract. And this button over here is connected to a webhook, which is this webhook over here. So depending if it's transcript, it goes this route. If it's an idea, which is text, it's going to go this route. It's going to just extract a bunch of insights using frameworks that I use for content, and then post those insights in the next tab, which is over here. Let me just show you. So it extracts it and it gets insights in this tab over here. And you can see these are all the insights. And then once the insights is there, for example, this insight is a single AI engineer model represents a new paradigm for corporate AI adoption. This is what it is. This is why it is. This is idea based. This is where should they look for the solution, the detail, and most importantly, the content skeleton. This content skeleton can then be used, which is the future series that I'm going to create out of these machines. But for now, they can be used for to create LinkedIn posts. You can create emails out of them. You can create, for example, YouTube transcripts, whatever you want out of them. It's just most important part. You have the content skeleton over here. So you choose LinkedIn post, you click check, you click generate. It triggers this workflow over here where it takes that insight that you got and the content skeleton of it, runs it through this AI agent, looks at your examples, which I'm going to show you over here. So you're going to look at examples of your best hooks, your best templates, your best examples of posts, your best performing posts. And let me just show you so you have an idea. Your best templates and psychographics, meaning the emotions of the audience, the target audience you want to target. And it gives you outputs over here. For example, let's go on this. This is just one output. So you can see the fastest way to implement AI isn't hiring more engineers. It's using AI to implement itself. I've watched companies, like, it's pretty good based on my experience and the content I've seen. This is pretty good, and it's pretty close to my voice as well. So the 10%, the last 10%, what I would do is, instead of writing a question mark over here, I put these double dots just to remove that AI sense to it. And then it's going to give me a reasoning why it chose this and which emotions does it trigger. And based on the analytics in the future, I can know, okay, when I trigger urgency, FOMO, and these emotions, let me just break this up. and realization of current inefficiencies, people move or take action or they give me their email. So let me do more of this emotion in the future. So this is just having things organized to create the content. Let's go back to here, and this is something I shared exactly with my clients, and this is the feedback. N8N started to be fun. Some people started experimenting with a Telegram attachment where they use Telegram, feeding it voice notes from Telegram now directly into Insight Extractor. Insight Extractor was the one that gets insights. This is perfect for brain dumping while taking a walk and come back home to run all the ideas through the Insight Extractor and Content Creator. So this is just saving someone a lot of time. It's awesome scratching the surface, but I feel back like I'm the childhood in terms of endless possibilities, combinations, and being only held back by your imagination. And this is the exact point I want people to reach, because I know this is when I opened this door in my mind of endless AI machines to be created. And I just want every single person to reach this point, and you as well. As you go through this, I want you to just open your mind to the possibilities of what you can automate within your business, save yourself a lot of time. And this person, just before this call, I was talking, I just before this video, I was with him on a call, and he mentioned that you have saved me a lot of mental capacity and mental power, and it was a burden for me in the past. Now I can focus on other more important things. And he just created like 15 posts within an hour or so. So this is just proving that we've just created something people want and want to use. This is machine number one. But this is just one task of everything. If we just zoom out when we were mentioning the manual task, this is just content creation. This is what went through to create that piece of content. But what about positioning? Because many people that start working with me, they say, I want to position myself to stand out from my competitors. I don't know how to position myself properly to have this kind of blue ocean, to be in a category of one with my offer and everything I create. This is where LNK02, which is Link02, came in. I don't know what makes competitors successful. I don't know what the I don't want to keep on doing manual analysis because that takes forever. I miss strategic patterns. I can't scale because of competition and so on. I don't know how to differentiate. This is essentially everything that is related to positioning. And the human element over here, if you want to solve this problem, is you get a brand strategist, a personal branding coach or something, positioning consultant, market research analyst, competitive intelligence specialist, and this is all costly for you just to position yourself as the founder and position your business as well within this field. And this can cost you $3 to $5 per month. And based on Appify, if you're using Appify, you can use a lot of the scrapers over there, and this is how we build this over here. And how you control this is essentially you go on Claude, and then you think I'm going to show you in a bit, and then you're going to start scraping with Appify. And then if you want to take this to the production level, again, we go back to this lovable over here. We create another dashboard similar to this and start extracting for the analytics dashboard based on what people want. So very important point, figure out what the pain points are, what do they really want. And this is something I repeated a lot in this video, I know. Just think what they want and just focus on what they want. Don't add more features thinking they're going to find more valuable. Actually, they're going to be confused. They don't want more features. They just want what they want. And this is where the customization part comes into play. So now let's go into the positioning part. So what happens with the positioning part? One thing I've heard a lot on calls saying that I don't know who my competitors are. So that's why I introduced this way of keyword research and LinkedIn URL. You may know your competitors, you may not know your competitors. So if you don't know your competitors, you write a keyword, you click add accounts, and then you click this button add, and you click how many posts you want to search for, and it just gets you everything or the counts related to a certain or specific topic. Let's say AI in Dubai. Or if you have someone in mind, you just put their link, you put their link URL, then you click add, and it adds the account in the next tab, which is this is your raw inputs, which is the accounts tab. And you can see from the first four, that's AI in Dubai. It gives you all this information about them. For example, their headline, which is kind of their positioning, their followers, their connections, their about, their let's say URL, and how did you get it. So this is essentially getting information about that person. And then if it's a manual entry, it also gets you the information. Then you can click about who you want to get the posts. Like how many posts do you want to get from each account? For example, from me, I want to get 30 posts out of me, or 25 posts, or 30 posts. Then I click get posts. It goes all in the post part, where it's going to start getting you all the posts, give you all the reactions, how many times you've posted, when you've posted, what's the URL, what's the time. For example, you can get the best time to post if you're in this niche, or which ones did the best. You can sort them out, let's say, by reactions in this case, and you can see, okay, these are the lowest to highest reactions for this account, and then for each account as well. So you can just look at the different posts and the reactions and so on. And then the most important part, which is which is the snapshot part, or the positioning part. For example, I want to take Adham, which is me, and I want to analyze by date and account. I want the start date to be this date and the end date to be this date, and I click analyze, and it's going to give me my positioning at every different snapshot, and I can see an analysis of how my positioning has been changing with time, or who am I speaking to, who's my primary audience, what are my core messaging topics, or what's the emotions I trigger the most, what is my positioning score, am I all over the place or not. You can use it for yourself, of course, you can use it for other people. This is based on Eugen Schwartz, breakthrough advertising. Are they solution aware, problem aware, and so on? What's buyer type are they? Do they have money, or are they fish, and so on? Why did you choose this buyer type? Has my message evolved or not? And who's the enemy that I'm targeting? For example, here I'm targeting AI dependent business coaches. A small caveat to this is that, depending on the time frame, for example, here's the start date and the end date is this, and this does not focus on the start date and end date of these, but of the post extracted, which is the lowest, let's say the earliest post you created and the latest post you created, and then gives you the amount of days. So this is very critical, the time frame for the positioning. So I usually go with 30 days, and this is just for examples, just so you see how everything works out and so on. And the N8N workflow behind this is very simple. One, webhook, webhook, webhook connected to the buttons over here, as you saw these buttons, the add buttons, the analyze buttons, and so on. And then this, for example, it takes either it's a keyword or a LinkedIn URL. I'm going to get information about the URL and put it in the Airtable, or I'm going to just get posts about or accounts that related to that keyword, and get information about that account and post it on Airtable. And the second one is for the second part, which is the accounts to get the posts. I'm going to extract a couple of posts for this accounts over here and put it in Airtable. And then the third one, which is essentially the positioning, which gives you the positioning analytics of, okay, this is the positioning analytics for this person over here. And they're all defined in that way. The third one could be your comments. The fourth one could be a lot of other things as well. And once all this comes together, you have the LNK series, which essentially is replacing all the manual tasks we mentioned over here, and fulfilling that vision of having this content creator for yourself that's actually backed by data, and actually backed by what people want, and actually backed by what companies are willing to pay for. What you just saw is a live example of me building, testing, iterating, getting feedback from the market, and iterating again until we get the results or the system people want. Because right now, people no longer want information. Information is abundant. And if you're selling information, you're competing with Gemini, ChatGPT, Claude, and all these LLMs. I don't think any human can be smarter than these LLMs, especially now they're getting smarter by every quarter. So this is the essence of code development, how you code develop with your clients, with people, to get them the products they want and they're willing to pay for. And that's how you get clients and having things people want.